Chapter 5 The Most Genius Idea. After lunch, we have recess, which means we get to go out in the playground and run around. Miss Daisy said we needed to burn off energy. Now, this is more like my style, I announced when we got outside. I made a beeline for the monkey bars. Then, me and some kids hit the swings. After that, all the boys had a contest to see who could spin around in circles the longest without throwing up. Michael Robinson won. Then we all sat down on the grass. Even though Miss Daisy was pretty cool, we all agreed that we hated school. We made a promise to one another that we would hate school forever, even if we changed our minds and decided we liked school. That's when Ryan came up with the most genius idea in the history of the world. His idea was we should buy the school. Ryan told us that his father worked for this big company and that once his father's company bought some other company, just like you would go into a store and buy a candy bar. Ryan said it happens all the time. He said he didn't see any reason why we couldn't buy the school just like that. If we bought the school, what would we do with it? Michael Robinson asked. We could do anything we wanted it. We own it. Could we turn it into a video game? Arcade, I asked. Sure, why not? Instead of teaching reading, writing, and arithmetic, we could teach teach kids how to play video games. And we could skateboard in the hallways, asked Michael Robinson. Sure we could. And if we owned it, I got all excited because if there's one thing I like to do almost much as playing football, it's video games. Oh, and riding skateboards. I started emptying out my pocket. I had a nickel, 3 pennies, and a lightsaber. The other boys emptied their pockets too. We had separated the pennies, nickels, and dimes into little piles. Then we added up all the money. We have $1.32. Wow, Michael Robinson said. That's a lot of money. I don't think it's enough to buy a school, said Ryan, who knew a thing or two about financial matters because his father worked for his big company. Well, how much do you think you need to buy a school? I asked. Beats me. We'd better ask, said Ryan. We'd better ask Miss Daisy. We all rushed inside after recess and asked Miss Daisy how much it cost to buy the school. Gee, I don't know, said Miss Daisy, who didn't seem to know much or anything. Do you Why do you want to buy the school? We want to turn it into a video game arcade. What a genius! What a great idea, Shibin. I love video games. There are so many perfect sense to turn some of the schools into a video game arcade. I'll arrange a meeting with Mr. Clark tomorrow so we can ask him if we can buy the school. But right now, we have to go to Miss Cooney's office. Miss Cooney's office is down the hall from our class. She says she's the school nurse, but I personally think she's a spy. I'll tell you, there is a big poster on her wall that says this. I tried to read it, but it didn't make any sense at all. Even Andrea Young didn't know how to read the poster, and she knows everything. I think Miss Cooney had created a secret code and she's using mystery spy messages. I will have to keep an eye on her. When we walked into Miss Cooney's office, she had us all lined up in size order. I was one of the shortest kids, so I had to stand in front of the line. Then Mrs. Cooney told us to take off our shoes. At first, I thought she didn't want us to track mud all over her office. But then she told us that she was going to weigh and measure us. Obviously, she is trying to gather information about us because that is what spies do. My friend Billy says that heavier you are, the smarter you are, because heavy people have bigger brains. But I think Billy just says that because he is overweight. I weigh 52 pounds. Mrs. Cooney showed up this awesome ruler she has. It is made of metal and stretches out 6 feet long. When she presses a button, the whole thing shoots out into her hand and disappears like magic. That is cool. I bet she has lots of other spy tools too. She wouldn't let us play with her magic ruler, but Mrs. Cooney ran around measuring everything. She showed us that the bench we were sitting on was 17 inches high. The door to her office was 30 inches long, 13 inches across, and her foot was 12 inches long. Hey, my foot is a foot, Mrs. Cooney explained. Aren't all feet? Yeah, some feet are less than a foot, and some feet are more than a foot, she replied. But my foot is exactly a foot. I had no idea what she was talking about. Miss Cooney wrapped the measuring tape around her forehead and announced, "Look, my head is almost 2 feet in circumference." I knew circumference was the distance all the way around the circle, and diameter were the distance through the middle of the circle. What is the diameter of your head, Mrs. Cooney? I asked. Everybody laughed, even though I didn't say anything funny. That would be hard to measure, But isn't measuring things fun? Miss Cooney asked. I wonder how much the scale weighs. Miss Cooney started to measure and weigh more things, but Miss Daisy said we have to go back to class. Thank you for listening to this unabridged program. I will see you at chapter 6. Bye-bye.